Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're outside in our tiny little garden again, and we're getting to the end of the season. All right, we're now into August, and frankly, things are looking a little not fantastic. Because when we planted, potatoes and stuff like that, that really don't have much interest beyond their exact growing season. Yeah, we have some perennials. We have that guy, we got those guys. Our snapdragons are blooming a little bit still, but that'll end shortly. So the reason I'm mentioning that we don't have a lot of plants that show a lot of interest in more than one season is because I wanted to talk about multi-seasonal plants. And multi-seasonal plants are plants who have interest in more than one season. They look interesting or they do something. Like our sunflowers here, they're going to seed. It'll only be a couple more weeks before we're going to be able to harvest some of their seeds. So if I lift this guy up, you can see we're going to have sunflower seeds to harvest shortly. So they're coming to the end of their season. The corn is, we didn't get much corn because we actually only planted 4 stalks. But we have corn to harvest. We're probably going to get about 7 ears. Looks like 7 to me. Over here, we'll walk down. Our potatoes are going to flower. So we don't really have a lot of things with multi-seasonal interest. Remember, we just moved here this year, and we haven't had a chance to do a lot of planning yet. Well, we have the plan. We just haven't had a chance to actually do it because we missed some of the prime growing season. So we're just going to take a look at the potatoes while I talk a little bit about multi-seasonal plants and what you might want to look for. So we all want our gardens to look good all season long. We all do. We want a lot of greens and pinks and blues and orange, and no matter what you're gardening, you do want it to look good. Now you're going to notice some potato plants got kind of flattened. That was Tequila. Tequila's a bum. She was having some fun in here. So, yeah. Tequila's a bum. She's so annoying. But, yeah, potatoes are looking good. They haven't seeded quite. They're almost ready to harvest. They're getting there. 2-3 more weeks. And then we're harvesting these dudes. But multi-seasonal plants, we all want them. We don't want to have to constantly plant new things, though. Okay, we don't want to. So just as a matter of interest, we actually have some wild plum trees here, and I've been eating the plums off them. There's some plums on the ground. I've been eating the plums off them all week. So there's really not any plums left because I ate most of them. I like wild plums, okay? They're very delicious. There's a couple left. To harvest yet. Couple up in here. We'll harvest those. They're delicious. I ate most of them. I was going to make compote with them, but I ate them. So no compote for me. Anyway, so if you're thinking about multi-seasonal plants, you want to pick plants that have, pretty interesting or useful traits in at least 2 different seasons. So it might be spring and summer, or summer and fall, maybe fall, winter. That could be really cool. So for example, roses bloom in the spring after the first frost. And they bloom until the last frost. So we're actually going to go back here for a second. Hi, Bowser. So we're just going to walk back this way for a second. So roses look great all summer long. Oh, all 3 of you are here. Awesome, kittens. So roses look great all year long. Even in the winter, they don't look terrible. The bush itself looks kind of cool. I don't know what that cat's doing. That's weird. So it looks kind of cool in the wintertime too. Okay, so it's neat. It's good. Roses are fun. They're a perennial, so you don't have to replant them every year. They work really well. All right? Just looking in here, we got some really nice wild bushes. We had choke cherries, but we ate those. Don't ask. Do not ask. I ate the choke cherries. That's just the way it is. Dogwood is another good plant that has perennial interest. Dogwood's really pretty because it has pink and or white, depending on the variety you have. Pink or white flowers in the spring. By the fall, it gets these bright red leaves, which is actually, we walked past some of it over here, but there's dogwood over there. So we have dogwood that gets really nice red leaves coming into fall. And even in the winter, it's got these bright red stems that actually stand out against all the white of winter. So dogwood's actually really, really cool. We like dogwood. Dogwood's fun. In fact, we have some more dogwood here. So this is, see this red stem? This stem gets red and very woody in the winter. So it actually is really, really cool to have in your garden. I like dogwood. I even have some dogwood seeds to put dogwood where we don't have it and we do want it. So dogwood's a good plan. Also think about things like hostas, lady's mantle, things like that. They bloom for a few weeks. Yes, okay, hostas don't bloom very long. We're just going to walk around the corner here, but hostas don't bloom very long, it's true. Neither does lady's mantle. But they have weeks of excellent foliage. Okay, so you'll have really pretty foliage all through fall. So that's something else to consider. Something that has interest all season long, and I've mentioned before. These are snapdragons. I like snapdragons. They're blooming again, and we're probably about right now 3 weeks from our first frost, and these guys are still blooming. They were blooming in May, and they're still blooming in August. So I would recommend things like snapdragons. They're not perennials, so you'll have to plant them again, but they'll bring beauty to your garden all year long. Things like pepper plants. First of all, they're turning color. Yum, almost harvest time. Yum, yum, yum. So pepper plants are kind of cool. No, our peppers are fine. Sometimes they get droopy like this in the afternoon and evening, and then they pop right up in the morning. Don't worry about them. Pepper plants are really cool because you get this fall color. They've been green all season until they flower. Then they're usually white or yellow, depending on the variety. And then they turn like reds and oranges and stuff. So those are also really good. Just gonna go this way. That's a car. That's our neighbor. That's like the one car all day. It's the neighbor. So you do want something like that to bring color and interest to your garden all year long, because it reduces the amount of work you have to do and makes everything look good. So then I'm going to walk over here and show you what we planted this week, because we want to add some more interest to our property. And here's where I'm going to talk about evergreens. Cedar, pine, spruce. So yes, we have the cedars over back by the house. And here we have some blue spruce. Okay, we have 5 blue spruce that we planted. Okay, we want these guys to grow bigger and kind of give us a windbreak, because this is north here. So we want to kind of cut down on those northerly winds. But also, spruce looks good all year long. Okay, all year long it's very beautiful. We love it. It's excellent. So evergreens like the cedars and the spruces are perfect for multi-seasonal plants. Some of them flower and even have berries even in the winter, so that's fine. But at least they bring green to your property even in the depths of winter. Over here these are young lilac bushes. I know they're not planted yet. We just got them. We're planting them this weekend. It's not the weekend yet. So we're planting them this weekend. 4 of them, 4 lilacs. They're going to look fantastic. We're going to love them. And lilac, again, it's a perennial, so, you know, it's a bush. It grows back year after year. You can also get lilac trees, but we're doing the bush form. So these look great because they flower, you know, May, June, sometimes July, depending on where you live. They flower, and we have cats following us again. Cats. We're being followed by cats. So these guys will flower, and they'll also look nice all year long. These guys will carry these really nice looking leaves all the way to the first frost, and then they'll go dormant. But they'll look good all year long, because even the actual naked bush, if you look at the woody stems, those are not bad looking stems. So it won't look terrible in the winter either. So lilac is another thing to consider. And you might want to use white, gray, or silver foliage, which is what I'm going to do here. In between these guys, we're going to get lamb's ear, and I'm going to put that in here in the spring. I'm not doing that now. It's too close to fall. It won't take. But we're going to do it next year. Just a cat. Hi, cat. Meow. Many, many cats. So use white, gray, or silver foliage between your plants to soften areas that might clash temporarily. Okay, so sometimes you might plant one plant that flowers about 2 weeks before another plant is done flowering, and they kind of don't look great together when they're flowering. A good thing to do there is just use white, silver, or even just a standard green foliage, just to kind of blend everything together, just to kind of soften everything so clashes don't look so obvious. Okay, it is getting a little bit windy, which is fun. We like wind. Wind is fun. Wind is great. So if you do it right, if you plant what you like, and you plant it at the right times, and you plant it in kind of the right configurations in your yard, then you will have a succession of color, and you'll have things that change throughout the year, right? So these guys, this one for example, have beautiful white flowers, then he'll be green for the rest of the year. This one over here will have really nice purple flowers. See what he'll have, and then he'll be green for the rest of the year. So they're just going to look really fantastic at all times of the year, and there'll be kind of a succession of color. So we're going to go from whites and purples over here to greens and kind of a bluey color, because these blue spruces really do have a blue tone. So they're not quite like a pine or a standard spruce. They do look really cool. Even Magic's coming out to play. Hi, Magic. So you'll have a lot of interest and a lot of changes if you plant the right thing at the right time. So really think about what you like. Okay, take a walk around your local nurseries, kind of plan it out. I know right now we're kind of in the fall, but it's time to think about next spring already. Okay, so this is what we're already thinking about, what we want this to look like next year. So we're going to plant these guys on the weekend. And then next year, even though they'll be young, they'll still bloom. Okay, they even have some tiny little buds on them right now, which is really going to look great. So these guys are still growing, still looking good, even though we're getting well into fall, at least up here. I know in a lot of places you guys are still in the height of summer. We're not. We're getting ready to have our fall. We're entering fall. It's fun. We love fall. Cats love fall. We love cats. Yes, that's a vehicle. And that's Magic. He's a good cat. So if you do all those things and you plan it right and you think about your color scheme and what blooms when, and think about what kind of mix you want for perennials versus annuals. So, you know, these are perennials. They'll come back every year, but those snapdragons are not. They're annuals. They'll die. So if you really think about it and you make your plan accordingly, you can really have a fantastic, fantastic looking garden that will amaze and delight. And you can do the same thing with food crops. So plant them in the right way, plant them kind of so they're alternating, so you know what you've got, but you still get some interest and things look really neat. You know, even a food garden, it looks fantastic when it's all ripe and ready for picking. It's awesome. So that is about it here for Andersen Acres today. We are getting into fall, so the number of gardening videos might decrease in coming weeks just because we're going to enter winter. I might do some inside gardening videos through the winter, but otherwise expect gardening videos to drop off a little bit because we're going to start getting frost in just a few short weeks. But that's about it for us here at Andersen Acres. We'll see you tomorrow.